Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. Today I have a book review from the old classic 62 book long series from the 90s of Goosebumps. And this particular book, I only have a reissue of. I don't plan on buying like the original paperback or anything like that. I enjoyed a lot of this book. I loved a lot of it. And then the ending was kind of weak, like a lot of people warned me about. Anyway, that's Goosebumps, the Abominable Snowman of Pasadena, who, this is the monster that had an enormous amount of view time in the first 2015 movie, and even some spots in the 2018 Haunted Halloween film. Now, I was not excited to read this. I'm actually, if you've seen recently with some of my book reviews I've been trying to do, I've been trying to get some of the lesser beloved Goosebumps books out of the way, just because I don't want to be stuck with, like, if I read all the good ones that everybody recommends to me, and then I get to just crap upon crap and have to struggle for months trying to get through just bad book after bad book, potentially. When I get to the end of the channel, I guess, if you want to say that, or get to the end of the book reviews for the Goosebumps books I haven't read yet. And I don't want to do that. You know, I just want to be able to enjoy reading these and having a great time. And I want to read them at my own pace. But even so, I decided to go ahead and pick this up because I had heard a lot of love for this. And of course, Champ in the 2015 film talks about this was his favorite. It scared him so bad. And I was just like, you know, I want to go ahead and get that one out of the way. This is one of those ones like Beast from the East that I have no interest in reading whatsoever. And I wanted to go ahead and read it and just get it out of the way. Now, I was interested because I actually kind of like the 2015 and 2018 films portrayal of the Abominable Snowman of Pasadena. He's kind of just a basic monster, you know, but it is what it is. I actually don't mind it that much. A little bit too much screen time focused on that monster compared to other things like the Haunted Mask and Slappy and everything else, even though Slappy has a lot of free time in there too, that I love. But still, this book I was genuinely surprised by. Genuinely, I loved a ton of this book. I thought the concept was fantastic. I did not expect it to become what it was. It's more of an actual adventure story than it is just a straight-up kid living in the suburbs, creepy monster haunting his house or anything like that. It wasn't your typical Goosebumps book in that fashion. It was kind of an actual adventurous type of book. And I really dug that because it also takes place in Alaska, even though the title says Pasadena. This is kind of the problem with this book. Basically, you have a main character who's a boy and his sister who's a girl. And those two have a father who travels a lot for his work. And they get stuck with this stupid babysitter they can't stand. She's always causing just boring problems with them, and they don't like her. And the dad, he just got back from a new trip, and they all live in Pasadena, California, which is extremely hot outside. These kids have never seen snow before. They bring that up a lot, and I always thought that was kind of fascinating. There's a girl that I work with that had never seen hail before until like about a month or two ago, when it started hailing all of a sudden here in Virginia. And she thought it was fascinating. So I was kind of picturing the same thing with these kids. Like, they have never seen snow in their entire life. They've always lived in these extremely hot temperatures. I myself could never live in Pasadena, California. Not only because it's California, but because it's freaking hot, right? That's kind of the big focus for this book. And these kids, their father just got back from his recent trip, and then he gets another call, like the day of coming back, that his boss wants to send him out to Alaska. And the kids are really irritated already with that, and they're just like, you know, we just got you back, Dad. Apparently their parents are divorced too, which I can relate to that, so that really hit me in a weird nostalgic way, if you want to say nostalgic. It was kind of a childhood thing. So I got immediately where they're coming from, about not having their parent around all the time like they want, at least their father in that situation. And I could relate to that. Immediately I was like, I bonded with these characters. You know, I could. I don't think everybody could, but I did. Goosebumps doesn't have the most three-dimensional characters ever, but this one worked for me. The dad also tells them he tried to call the babysitter that they can't stand, and she can't make it, so they have to go on the trip with him to Alaska to find the Abominable Snowman. And Alaska, for people who don't know, is nothing but snow. It's not like Pasadena whatsoever. It's nothing but snow. It's like a 30 Days of Night type thing, if you haven't seen that film. That film is scary, so be wary. Anyway, so the kids go with their dad, and another guy that's kind of an old, creepy kook, like the old man from Friday the 13th, Part 1 and Part 2, you know, Crazy Ralph. He's kind of like that. His name is Arthur, and Arthur's very, very suspicious and very odd. This book, it's basically just the family and Arthur looking for the Abominable Snowman out in the middle of nowhere, in the snow, in the Alaskan snow. And it is so engaging. I mean, it has, to me, I really, really loved it. I thought it had, not the whole book, but I loved most of the book with all the snow parts, the parts about, you know, there's pitfalls out there where you could be walking and just all of a sudden the freaking ground just drop out from under you and you could fall down into a giant hole. You know, you might be stranded there and die. There's things like that that can happen in here. So the amount of risks and the amount of terror of things that could happen to these kids are pretty high up there, man. I mean, the risks are pretty high for the situation. And the snow is so thick that it's falling down out there that it's like you could be walking right beside somebody that's like right here, like as close as those Chester drawers back there are to me, and you might not be able to see them because the snow is coming down so heavy and because it's darker and whatnot. It's a fascinating concept for a Goosebumps book. I never thought I'd see a book like this from the Goosebumps series. It feels like it would be a little bit more complicated to write something like this compared to something like Not a Living Dummy, where, again, it's just a kid in a suburb with a creepy dummy in their house that attacks them and stuff. I mean, it's not the most difficult thing to write. This is very different. Very, very different in that regard. And I thought I had the ending pinned down a long time ago into the book, like 60 pages into the book, maybe before that even, and I didn't. I was kind of surprised. It was not a book that I could really predict the ending. Now, you might wonder how much of the book takes place before they get back to Pasadena at some point. Because of the title saying this is the Abominable Snowman of Pasadena, it kind of gives away what they're going to do. I'll be honest with you, about 80 or 90 pages of this book, if not more than that, maybe up to 100 pages of this 127-page book, are focused on the Alaskan story, which I got really invested in. Really, really invested. I loved that part of the book. I thought it was fantastic. Some of the scarier things that happen in this book are from that segment. The Pasadena portion is like 30 pages of the book, and it's really not that good. It's kind of a really lame ending to the book, I'll be honest with you. I didn't hate it, per se, and I don't think it necessarily ruins the book. It just kind of, it didn't end the way I wanted it to end. Does that make sense? Like, have you ever read, I'm not trying to, like, be backseat editor or anything like that, but I think when you're a reading critic or a book critic or anything like that, you have to be a backseat editor if you want to give a real honest opinion that makes sense. I wouldn't have done that ending the way they did it. I don't like it. I think I would have ended the whole book in Alaska, honestly, because that was the most fascinating part. It was a whole territory of just unknown stuff you could have dealt with that was going on there. Had some scarier moments, some things that actually kind of surprised me, made me jump out of my skin a little bit, just because I'm always afraid of the whole idea of being stranded in the middle of nowhere with, you know, a cannibal potential situation and not having enough food and whatnot. It's a pretty tense book most of the time, I'll be honest with you. The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena is not like the most amazing Goosebumps book ever written. It's not one of my favorites, but it's decent for what it is. I actually really think it's good for the most part. It's just that last, like, 20 pages that I don't find it all that great, honestly. It's exactly what you think it would be. Exactly, almost. Except for, like, one element, but I won't spoil that for you. But anyway, I don't really have much more to say about this book. Again, this monster has too much focus put on it in the films, in my opinion. It should never be brought up in films ever again unless it's a background character, like Carly Beth as the Haunted Mask in the 2015 film. Just a split second of showing the Abominable Snowman in a new film, and that's all they should do. I know this was discussed of being a TV episode from the old 90s show. An adaptation of that was potential at the time. I don't know how I would have felt about that. I don't think they could have pulled this off. I really don't think they could have pulled this off because of the amount of snow and the budget around that Alaska thing. I don't know if they could have done it. So I'm not really butthurt about that or anything. I don't know. I'm not obsessed with this book, is what I'm trying to say. I really loved a lot of it. I really did. If I seem sarcastic, I'm not being sarcastic. I genuinely loved a lot of the book. It's just that last 20 or 30 pages I just really thought was kind of weak. I didn't really like it all that much. I had some people warn me about that, like last week when I talked in a different comment section about what book I was reading. I brought up this book. And people warned me about the ending. They said it was pretty rough. And they weren't lying. It's pretty... I don't know if I'd even say it's rough. It's just bland, you know? Like, it's just... It doesn't really fit the book that we got, I think, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on what you thought of this. Again, I don't think the book is bad by any means. I actually really enjoyed it. I still think it's a positive review for the most part. It's very fun, very scary, very adventurous, and it was something different. It was a very good breath of fresh air from Goosebumps, in my opinion, in some weird way. Kind of like how the Give Yourself Goosebumps books are kind of the same thing I say about that too. It's just different, you know, and I like that. I like different sometimes. Not Last Jedi different, but I like different. Anyway, The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena. What do you think about it? Put your thoughts in comments down below, guys. I'd love to hear what you have to say about the book. Is this one of your favorites? Is it one of your least favorites? Do you hate the book? Do you love the book? What do you think about it? Is it just okay to you, like how it is to me? If I had to rate the book on a 5-star basis, I'd give it a really high 3 out of 5 stars, in my opinion. I think it's a really, really deserving 3 out of 5 stars. A high 3 out of 5, like I said, just because of how intense this can be in the snow portions. And I really like that whole aspect of the kids never seeing snow before and kind of loving this for the first time ever and seeing something different. And kind of, it comes from this place about kids who have been through a parental divorce, because a lot of people think the parents just go through the divorce. No, the kids go through it too. And I don't mean to ramble on about this, but I'm just saying that to have that situation happening in your life as a young person, and then to have something you've never experienced like snow, it's so pleasant, so beautiful to look at, happen during the midst of all that. It's kind of this weird, like I said, kind of nostalgic thing for me, that it's something beautiful in the midst of chaos, because all divorces are chaos. It's never pleasant, ever. So I like it for those aspects. I think there's a lot of good stuff there. Not that I like the book for the divorce aspect or anything, but just, I thought that was a nice little tag on for the book. It was something interesting that I don't think a lot of people that haven't been through that have really picked up on before, or people who have been through it haven't thought about that before. So, anyway, what are your thoughts? Put them down below, guys. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And again, 3.5 out of 5, or 3.5, listen to me. 3 out of 5 stars for me. I thought it was very, very good for the most part. Gonna take a break from the classic Goosebumps books for a little bit, I think. I kind of want to jump around a little bit, see what else I can pick up for the time being. I've kind of been reading a lot of the classics, because there's a lot of classic Goosebumps books like this and My Harriest Adventure, Chicken Chicken, that I have no interest in reading, that I just want to try to get out of the way now so I can look for the stuff and really be into the stuff for the summertime that I really want to read, like the Mummy books, Say Cheese and Die, those kinds of things. And somebody's mowing the lawn outside right now, so I don't know if you can hear that. They're going to ruin the video, so I need to stop recording for the day now, I can tell. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Put them down below, guys. Thank you for sitting through this long, rambly review about a book that most people don't care about. Anyway, give it a chance if you haven't read it before. Thank you for watching. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you guys today. Happy Easter, and goodbye.